Some big news from the NFL that could make it easier for all of us now to go get a COVID shot.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell sent President Biden a letter today saying all 32 NFL stadiums, including Lucas Oil, are ready to be used as mass vaccination sites. So you probably remember the NFL previously allowed the city of Indianapolis to use Lucas Oil Stadium as an early voting site.
We're working right now to find out whether or not the city and those at Lucas Oil are going to take the NFL up on its offer to use that facility for mass vaccinations. In the meantime, we are learning more today about how the White House plans to get more shots, at-home tests, and also PPE out across the country to Americans.
They're using the Defense Production Act to make this happen. Now, the first thing they're going to do is give Pfizer more equipment and supplies. So with those resources, Pfizer will be able to make hundreds of millions more doses in the coming months.
The government has also made a deal with 6 more companies to make 61 million more at-home COVID tests. It's expected that those will be available for you this summer.
And they're also going to build new factories and hire workers to make more personal protective equipment, including rubber gloves. That's a huge need right now.
The Pentagon also has approved the deployment of 1,000 troops to help get vaccine doses out to even more states.
And they'll start with California. Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine could be in the arms of Americans within weeks. The FDA right now currently reviewing their application for emergency use.
The advisory panel plans to meet February 26 to discuss that. If it's approved, it could roll out in just a couple of days after that. And you know, every industry wants to see their workers get vaccinated and get protected from the virus right away.
In Kentucky, teachers are getting their shots, and in New York, they're vaccinating restaurant workers.
Our Mary Mills today spoke to a local restaurant owner who wants to see Indiana do the same thing.
Cafe Patachou on the city's north side is one of 12 restaurants Martha Hoover owns across Indianapolis. Like others in hospitality, Hoover's taken a big hit. She's temporarily closed 3 places, with the rest operating at half capacity and a fraction of the 400 employees she had pre-pandemic.
Public policy has really decimated the restaurant industry and has really impacted the millions of workers in the industry.
After New York City deemed restaurant workers essential and eligible to be vaccinated, Hoover took to Instagram urging Governor Holcomb to lead, asking, quote, "Where is the access to vaccines for the good people of Indiana you glibly speak about at every opportunity, the good people who work in food service?" Hoover pointed out that unlike many others in the workforce, restaurant workers can't work from home.
We're not office workers who can do what we need to do anywhere and become digital nomads. We have to be in the restaurant to do our jobs.
And restaurants, of course, are public places. And even with limits on capacity, masks, and social distancing, there's still a risk.
We want to not only protect our workers, we also want to protect our customers.
When asked for the governor's response, his spokesperson referred us to Wednesday's briefing where Dr. Box said,
"As long as vaccine supplies remain limited, we will continue to prioritize individuals who are most likely to be hospitalized or die from COVID-19.
Meaning those over 65, healthcare workers, and first responders. Hoover says she and the Restaurant Association will continue to push for adding those in food service to the list.
You know, every state is making pretty tough choices when it comes to deciding who gets the vaccine and when. But what happens when the guidelines that are set up are broken?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt will take a look at the vaccination clinic that is now forced to close after it handed out shots early and the impact it had on a local community.
You can watch that on Nightly News at 6:30. That's right after 13 News right here at 6 o'clock.
Well, President Joe Biden is now changing his bipartisan tone when it comes to COVID-19 relief.
He says now is the time to act, and he pointed to the new jobs report as proof. Only 49,000 jobs were added across this country in the last month.
Restaurants, retail, and manufacturers all cut workers.
I see enormous pain in this country. A lot of folks out of work, a lot of folks going hungry. I'm not cutting the size of the checks. They're going to be $1,400, period.
Democrats now have a way to get those checks out to Americans.
Early this morning, the Vice President, Kamala Harris, cast her first tie-breaking vote in the Senate that cleared the way for Democrats to bypass Republicans and pass the relief package. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg now getting to work with his first official event today.
The former South Bend mayor met with transit and rail workers at Union Station, discussing the importance of the president's federal mask mandate on people working in public transportation.
We need to support them. We need to make sure as much as possible that we do not put these employees in the position of having to ask or to remind. Although they are prepared to ask and to remind when necessary. But let's make it easier for the people who are making it easier for all of us to get around this country and to get through our day.
Pete Buttigieg was just sworn into the president's cabinet on Wednesday.